good morning, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure to see the entire DBT family gathered here, either in person or virtually, to celebrate the second Foundation Day of the Biotechnology Research and Innovation Council. We are privileged and honored to have the Honorable Minister with us, and he'll be joining us shortly for the celebrations. As we embark on immersing in talks lined up for today, let's embrace this opportunity to connect, learn, and grow together. Our chief guest for today's program, the Honorable Minister, has arrived at the venue, and he'll be with us shortly. The Honorable Minister is inaugurating the newly established non-human primate animal BSL-3 facility at NI in New Delhi. It is a state-of-the-art high containment facility for advancing biomedical research in the country, another step towards strengthening the BRIC ecosystem.
The Primate Research Center at the National Institute of Technology was established in 1986. Facility to advance biomedical research using non-human primates. Recognized by the Committee for Control and Supervision of Experiments on Animals, BRIC NII's Primate Research Facility is the first and only CCSCA-approved center in India for both breeding and experimentation. Today, the center houses over 180 research macaques supporting basic, preclinical, and translational research. To strengthen India's preparedness against emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, BRIC NII has now established a state-of-the-art animal biosafety Level 3 facility for non-human primates, the PRIMES BSL-3. Inaugurated by the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, this high-containment facility marks a major milestone in India's biomedical research infrastructure. Only the second of its kind in the nation.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, Honorable Minister would be joining us shortly. So, kindly keep your mobile phones on silent, please. And everybody, please take their seats. On behalf of DBT family and on my personal behalf, I cordially welcome our chief guest, Honorable Minister of State Independent Charge, Science and Technology, and Ministry of Earth Sciences, Minister of State Prime Minister's Office, Personal Public Grievances and Pensions, Department of Atomic Energy and Department of Space, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, on the occasion of celebration of Second Foundation Day of Biotechnology Research and Innovation Council. May I also request the presence of dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary, Department of Biotechnology and DG BRIC, Dr. Anand Deshpande, Founder Chairman and MD Persistent Systems and Co-Chair, Governing Body BRIC. Our guests of honor for today, Dr. Shanti Shri Dhulipudi, Vice Chancellor, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Dr. P.M. Murali, President, Council of Presidents of ABLE, Founder and Chairman of Jananum Private Limited. I would now request Secretary DBT Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale and DG BRIC to present Honorable Minister with a welcome token. I again request Secretary DBT Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale to present a welcome token to our guests of honor, Dr. Santichri Dhulipudi, Vice Chancellor, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Dr. P.M. Murali, President, Council of Presidents of ABLE, Founder and Chairman of Jananum Private Limited. May I now request Dr. Debashish Mohanty, Director, NII, New Delhi, to present a welcome token to Secretary DBT and DG BRIC, Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale. I would again request Dr. Debashish Mohanty to kindly present a welcome token to Dr. Anand Deshpande, Founder Chairman and MD Persistent Systems and Co-Chair Governing Body BRIC. Thank you, sir. I now call upon Dr. Kalavani Ganeshan, Scientist F. DBT and Nodal Officer BRIC, to kindly deliver the welcome address.
Namaskar and a very good morning to everyone. Today we have all gathered to cheer our Biotechnology Research and Innovation Council, BRIC, on its second birthday. BRIC is a unique initiative and not just another Apex organization. It is a constellation of star biotech research institutions of our country. Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Science and Technology, and Ministry of Earth Sciences, Ministry of State, PMO, Ministry of Personal, Public Grievance and Pensions, Department of Atomic Energy and Department of Space, Government of India, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji, has been the guiding force and a pillar of support in helping DBT conceive, establish, and operationalize BRIC in a record time. Sir, it's my privilege and honor to welcome you as our chief guest today. On this occasion, I extend my heartfelt welcome to our guest of honor, Professor Santi Shri Dhulipudi Pandit, distinguished academician with many distinctions, including being the first woman Vice Chancellor of JNU and an acclaimed author with a trailblazing list of books to her credit. We are also extremely fortunate to have with us today as our guest of honor, Dr. P.M. Murali, President, Council of Presidents of ABLE and Founder Chairman Janonam, who has been a pioneer in synthetic biology and bio-entrepreneurship in our country. I take this opportunity to cordially welcome BRIC Governing Body Co-Chair, Dr. Anand Deshpande, whose keen and constant engagement has been instrumental in shaping many of the strategic initiatives of BRIC. BRIC culminates as the infinite sum of its institutions, being founded on the principles of collective intelligence by an iconoclastic visionary. I warmly welcome Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Secretary DBT and Founder Director General BRIC, and his incredible team of directors for designing and institutionalizing BRIC, this landmark initiative, in a record time. I extend my heartfelt welcome to my colleagues from the Department of Biotechnology, BRIC and BIRAC, and all of those who have joined digitally with us today. BRIC is a toddler, just learned to be on its feet and started walking, and of course wanting to run and jump and go places with all your good wishes. Looking forward to all your continued support, and once again welcome to today's celebrations. Thank you. So we will be now launching a new initiative, strategic initiative, BRIC BIRAC Entrepreneurship in Residence Program. So this program has been conceived along with BIRAC by BRIC, and it has been designed with a dual purpose. One is to create an avenue for research leads from BRIC institutions to reach society, and the second is to provide a new career path in terms of postdocs for bio-entrepreneurship in the country. So I thank the 5 VCs, venture capitalists, who has been part of this with us today. Axilor, Idea Springs, Mela Ventures, Social Alpha, and Navam Ventures. I call upon stage MD BIRAC, Dr. Jitendra Kumar, and his team, Dr. Vinita Jindal, Dr. Sumita Kumari from DBT, and the venture capitalist from Saksham from Axilor to join us on the stage. I now request Honorable Minister to launch the CIR program.
Ma'am, you need to place.
You, sir. Artificial intelligence is fundamentally reshaping biology by accelerating the pace of discovery, deciphering complex life processes, and predict molecular interactions at speed previously unimaginable. To give an insight into how AI impacts biology, I request Dr. Anand Deshpande, founder, chairman, and MD, Persistent Systems, and co-chair, governing body BRIC, for his talk. Sir.
Good morning, all of you. Honorable Minister, other members on the dais, fellow scientists and other people in the room, and also those online. Let me first start by wishing you all a very happy second anniversary. Congratulations on this topic. Let me just. So I'm going to talk about confluence of biology and AI in this today's talk. And for those of you who want the slides, you can QR this scan and you'll get it. I'm going to show this again at the end as well. I have a very short 10 minutes, so I'm going to make it very fast and share with you essentially 4 ideas. First set is how has biology influenced AI in a very big way? And I think you all should have a lot to think about in the sense that biology has had an important role to play in how AI has evolved. And you will see some of the examples that I'm going to share with you. The second topic I want to mention is how is AI transforming biology in the future? And how can we use AI now together to harness this future of bioresearch? And finally, I think AI has still a lot to learn from biology and how we can bring that back. So let me first start by a very quick example. So of course, all of you are familiar with the neurons and various discoveries that were made about how neurons work together. And as they said, neurons that fire together, wire together. This particular concept was picked up very early on in the 1940s and then eventually built out by Frank Rosenblatt and into what was known as the perceptron. Um, Brains, other big context that people talk a lot about is the Hebbian plasticity, which is again one of the main reasons of how learning and how weights are getting assigned to the neural network. So a lot of the neural network weights where you learn from various activities that happen, and the plasticity of the brain is being modeled through various technologies that help you make neural networks learn. The trial and error that biologists do a lot of, where you train the models because of giving them carrots and sticks, has been incorporated into various AI models as well. The visual cortex, which is where the eye sees its thing, is not a raster image that it views, but looks at objects in a hierarchical way. Some of this has been modeled by the convolutional neural networks. And this has been a remarkable thing as to how people are able to identify, or AI is able to identify objects, and that has been responsible for many of the new discoveries, including driverless cars and many other ideas. Biology also has taught AI to think in terms of context, time, and sequentiality. This has been one of the important things that if you look at generative AI examples, you will see that there is this whole idea of crossover and mutation, which is a very common, that has created evolution over the years, has been adopted by generative AI, where you get new examples of things that come in because of the way things are implemented. So let me just say the last idea here was regarding collective behavior, where when you study swarms or bees or ants and see how they operate, some of those algorithms have been adopted by computer science people as well in terms of various kinds of algorithms that are there. In another group, which I were talking to computer science people, I would spend more time on these, but let me just move on and share with you some of the ideas that I'm sure you are very familiar with. So AI has been actually transforming biology in big ways. So many of the topics that people talk about regarding protein structure, protein folding, such as AlphaFold, and Google DeepMind, if you look at some of the discoveries that are being made, clearly you will see that AI is influencing biology in a very big way. And I'm sure all of you are already trying out some of these kinds of ideas that are going on. One thing that I'm quite fascinated by was this particular research where they are using single cell foundational models for learning to replace LLMs. So typically when we look at LLMs that we see in standard neural networks that are being built for foundational models, the language models use tokens, which are usually language objects. Biologists have looked at making cells as the tokens for biology and then building out models where tokens are, where the nodes are actually cells. So now you can do many interesting things about building cellular models. So I'm very fascinated by what can be done with the next generation of biology if we relook at the assumptions that were made for languages and apply them to biological solutions. Again, there is a lot of different things going on. One thing I want to mention here is that when we are looking at biology, and good quality data is an important aspect of next generation biology. And here is where I think we in India need to really think hard. We have lots of interesting diversity within our population and within the people that we have, including biological diversity, biodiversity, and various other things. Unfortunately, we haven't done well to create our own data sets, which is an important aspect of what we need to invest in. If we have the right kind of data sets, then next generation models that use our data sets will have good results that we are looking for. Finally, I'm going to get to the third component here, which is where I want to spend a little more time and explain to you how we can use how can biology and research that you are all doing can leverage data sets or AI to do more and more things. So as you all are aware, you collect large volumes of data as part of your biological experiments. Now, more and more of this data set cannot be analyzed through standard techniques. And I think AI can play a huge role in terms of how we can work with the data sets that you have and bring it all together to do good quality data analysis, feature selection, and a whole bunch of other things. The second big area that you would have seen is the ability of AI to be like an advanced microscope in some sense. The visual aspects of activities that you see, whether it's in cells or various other things, can be very effectively identified, recognized through AI. And again, this is another area of research that we must invest in. Integration of the lab along with the AI is kind of very important, because what happens with AI is AI can give you ideas and generate different kinds of models or solutions, but then we need to validate and ensure that these are actually true, because AI, of course, we know is hallucinating in many cases. So building an integration between AI and labs where you can actually validate the theories that AI is propagating is kind of very important for automation and robotics. Last thing I want to mention is this is one of the initiatives that's been done by ANRF, where they have this program called Saral, which allows you to look at archive data sets and give you answers in terms of different languages. So it points to the archive data sets, research papers that are there in archive, and you can then ask questions in different languages about these research papers. This allows research papers to be accessible and visible to all kinds of people across the community. I was told recently by one of the architects of this group that bioRxiv doesn't publish an API, and hence this cannot be done very well with bioRxiv. Something for us to consider in terms of pushing that. I think there is a lot of opportunity when we look at knowledge graphs that can be built out, especially by relooking at the models that we are building out. So I think there is a lot of requirement for biologists to collaborate with computer science people to build out next generation knowledge graphs so that we can connect facts which may be coming in from completely different areas. By putting them together, we will see the next generation of biology or next generational biological results will happen by combining facts from different kinds of sciences and other areas. So this ability to bring things together is, I think, going to be very important. So I would want to just put a last plug here in terms of some of the work that has been going on in terms of funding bio AI projects. And I'm think some of this should get announced soon, but I would like to see this as an ongoing activity rather than just as a one-time activity. So all of you who are thinking about these projects and have some ideas on how to build next generation AI systems so that we can take advantage of the AI that is happening and be a leader in this market rather than just be dependent on what we are getting from external worlds. Finally, I want to just give a couple of ideas here that, while we see AI where we see, and it's quite fascinating and fantastic, I think AI has still a lot to learn from biology. If you think about the 3.8 million years or billion years of optimization that has happened through biological systems are super efficient and can, if you look at the teraflops of what can be done using biological systems, the efficiency of biological systems is significantly better, orders of magnitude better than the AI systems today. Also, as they say, biology bends while AI breaks. So a lot of the activities that happen in biology are designed to be fault tolerant and resilient, which is not the case with AI. So as we look at the future of AI, I think it's important for them to learn from biology to see how to improve the fault tolerance that happens. There is a lot of action going on in this whole idea about building next generation computing environments, because the computers that have been built in the von Neumann era have a difference where the memory and the CPUs are far away from each other. But the brain doesn't think like that. The memory is part of the CPU. So this particular changes that are happening where next generation of chips are getting designed, by looking at biological stuff is again another important area to look at. I want to just finally say that, there is a lot for the biological elegance that we see in systems. I think there is an opportunity to reflect that into AI systems as well. I'm going to leave this slide here for a few seconds so that you can take a photograph of this, and you can have a copy of the slides if you want them. It's a pleasure to be part of the BRIC initiatives, and I'm very delighted, and with especially the launch of the EIR program that we launched. I'm hoping that many of you will get inspired to take your ideas into market, and we can fund many more of these programs in the future. Thank you very much, and I'll hand this on to you.
Thank you, sir, for the engaging and profoundly thought-provoking talk. May I now request Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary DBT, for a special address on futuristic aspirations for BRIC. So.
Namaskar and a very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, it's such a pleasure to be over here today, actually, on this fantastic occasion of BRIC Second Foundation Day, which was obviously, culmination of several of years of work put together by various institutions and bringing them together to eventually what we believe will become a transformative for the bio innovations in this country, and therefore is going to be a very, very important cog in the wheel of Viksit Bharat. I think, first of all, again, I would like to congratulate each one of you for what you have contributing to this BRIC family. Also, it would be very interesting for us to really, share your favorite BRIC moment today. Actually, I was going to request Vamsi to start this kind of hashtag today. And it'll be a good idea to share your happy moment that you had in a BRIC in past year or year and a half, whatever you feel like, actually. I think let's increase the excitement and motivate each other to really become happy for what we do. And of course, for this BRIC, I need to thank our president of our society, actually, Honorable Minister, who is also the president of the society, under whose leadership, guidance, and chairmanship, we've kind of done this fantastic stuff over the years. And last couple of years, sir, has been transformative in the way we have been working together as team and developing various common programs and portals to be able to do these activities. I also need to thank the two honored speakers today, guest of honor today here, Professor Shanti Shri Dulpadi Pandit. Thank you very much for coming over here. I know you stay very close to NII. However, it's been your first time that you're over here, and we are delighted to have you here, actually. And I think it's always good to work together with your neighbors. And also, thank you, Dr. Murli, for coming here from all the way from the down south, actually. I know you are stationed in Coimbatore, but many times I think we have this interaction across VCs. I think good to see you over here. As a president of ABLE, actually, Dr. Murli played a very transformative role, and he will talk about this in his own talk later. I'm also thankful to Dr. Anand Deshpande, whom you just heard now, actually, and I think he has been a tremendous pillar of strength for the BRIC as a co-chair, not only visiting various institutions, talking to people, giving this other ideas, but he's also been a very philanthropic support that he's been providing us, which is very important for carrying out several activities. For example, he's providing PhD fellowship programs for 5 students every year as part of an I3C activity for all the people who are coming from engineering background. All last year he gave, about 5 awards to of 1 lakh each to the entrepreneurs who had come up with an idea. Even today's the design for Bio E3 program, I think he has been generous enough to give 10 awards of today for all the BRIC members, actually. So thank you very much, Anand, for all your wonderful things that you've been doing. I think as already talked about, DBT's academic ecosystem is BRIC institutions is a fantastic conglomeration of, I think, top of the class institutions in the country. I dare say that these are the best in the country in all the possible environments, and the directors of these, all of you are, and the various faculty members and various officers from these are also here. I again thank you all of you for joining, and actually it's you who make this really impactful and really make this valuable resource to come. Together, along with ICGB and RCB, yeah, we should shout louder, actually, right? I mean, this is for ourselves. I think together with RCB, which is a National Institute of National Importance, and ICGB, which is an intergovernmental institution at an international level, this is the entire ecosystem of DBT, actually. And I think a powerhouse for the country. Believe me, this is going to be transformative for our national Viksit Bharat journey, because bio is going to be the major driver of future economic growth in the country, in either in terms of technology or in terms of variety of solutions that will create. Just to give you a highlight why this is not just just my talking, but if you look at the numbers as well, the astounding numbers, actually. 3,190 publications over the last 3 years, 107 patents granted, 13 technologies commercialized, 2,578 PhD students are available right now in this whole group, 678 postdoctoral fellows, and there are other research personnel, about 4,725 actually. So these group of people actually makes us a tremendously powerful body in India that can demonstrate its impact for the country's progress. Also, it is grateful that it is ranked #1 in the biological sciences by Nature Springer Index actually. So I think something to celebrate again. So we are the top body in the biological sciences in the country. Some strategic initiatives what we have taken, and I won't go through it again. Honorable Minister has been part of this, but I think I3C has been our flagship program. We hold this biotech spotlight series on every Saturday. It's an online meeting where all of us get together and listen to each other and celebrate the success of science and scientists actually. Various leadership talks are being given, immersion training programs, as well as the resource sharing settings that we have come up with is quite unique for our own organizations. At the same time, we have started with connecting research through various programs and virtual units of excellences and other various activities of network projects, kind of in a direction to take where collaborative networks of activities are going to be, real fun game for the future to look at. Of course, ODOG program, One Day, One Genome program, which was launched in the last foundation day over here. I think it's completed one full year cycle where every day one genome was announced for a microbial system actually. Again, something to celebrate about our successes. And this has been coordinated by NIBMG actually very successfully over the entire year and contributed by all the institutions across the country. The zero waste impact actually story is again an amazing adventure to be able to ensure that our future campuses are zero waste and almost nothing gets left over. At the same time, the other citizen-centric program designed for BioE3, for which we will announce 10 awards today, and the Honorable Minister will give out these awards today for design for BioE3 only for the BRIC institutions actually. I think we are also coming up with new programs of looking into asset management and monetization. So we are going to plan to set up a BRIC BioE3 Innovation Park, at least one of the first one in Faridabad campus, which is a large 200-acre campus where we want to create a flagship activities in future to look at. And EIR program was just launched actually. So you can see there are several areas of activities going on other than research, which makes us immensely, profound for our institutions to be able to do. This is some of the activities of the immersion program that students of I3C have gone through. And it is they've reached out to the fields actually. For 2 months, they've lived in the various different parts of the world and, of the country right now, not of the world. Hopefully we can expand this to the future of the world as well actually. But the whole purpose of this is to get the on the ground motivation to understand from the societal challenges and various of activities that you as a personally, feel for it. And I think that is what is the most important part of this activity. And we are trying to do this for an entire, all the students of the BRIC family. And hopefully we'll be able to get this funded through some kind of activity in future to come. I think a couple of points that I would like to put together. As you see and opportunities come by, there are new challenges also emerge actually. And this is one of the interesting Nature article that I thought was appeared on 25th September 2025, which talked about the future of universities and, of course, institutions are embedded with them. And it said they made the modern world, now they must survive it. And you can see what is happening all across the world is that the governments and federal fundings for these institutions are actually diminishing with time. And of course, this is not a great sign, but obviously the demands for the amounts of funds is coming in different ways. So, what this issue talks about has some really interesting articles, and I'm putting together some of the thoughts of these actually. It says, innovate to save the innovation and our research ecosystem. And of course, what we need to do if we need to change our work, culture, and systems is we need new regulations, guidelines, and culture. Of course, the ideal situation would be that the purpose of research institution is to create and disseminate knowledge and allow others to, take it forward so that you train people, you train variety of quality people, and they build something for the nation. And which is what you can see, all part of the human endeavors has created tremendous amount of exciting science, technological perspective. But many of these universities now facing dangers of where to generate sources from actually. And clearly, they need to figure out how to survive the test of time. Like, for example, I know JNU has borrowed a loan from various banks actually and be able to sustain their activities, and so is other kind of institutions all across the world. So can we undergo a transformation? And this constant pressure for looking for funding beyond government is not trivial problem actually, because on one side you are learning, you are helping to create, you are making other good quality people and human resource. How do you really change this character of institutions? So I think one needs to start searching for alternative fundings. And one of the good idea that this article talks about is that you should also start charging for the financial returns of the knowledge they help to create actually. So for example, any successful companies that come out of it have come out of because the institutions have provided them some kind of leadership and provided them a perspective about it. So why can't we get some money from people who have already made money from it actually? And therefore, you need to learn to negotiate equity in ventures and built on institutional funded research reflecting the contribution of talent, facilities, and intellectual groundwork actually. So, that's the only way you can build a kind of sustainable pool for it. So what at BRIC we have been trying to do is we are trying to redefine the charter of our institution's work actually. So what we have done is that our new BRIC bylaws have been approved now, and various operational guidelines are being put in place that involves various funding opportunities, entrepreneurship programs, and various activities that will allow students to really, go out and venture. At the same time, institutions can hold equity, which can then therefore allow them to actually get benefited with time. I also believe one of the key challenges that we face is of looking at key performance metrics for BRIC scientists actually. And I think this is very important because presently all our performance metrics is to do with publications or patents. And that is not sufficient, but maybe actually could be modified to include functional competency, domain competency, and the behavioral competency, because all three together, in fact, makes it fully impactful actually. And I think various frameworks we are trying to put together, it's been under discussion now, and hopefully we will converge on one kind of matrix that can be used by various people with times to come. But it's very important that there should be a balance between discovery and delivery actually, because you can't just keep discovering things which will have an impact over 25 years of time, because eventually you need to recycle the economic value of this perspective. At the same time, you need to reward interdisciplinary and the collaborative work and individual performances to BRIC scientific strategic work actually. So I'm sure this will support a culture of accountability, innovation, and social relevance, which is very important to come in future part of the country. Finally, I come to this Design for BioE3 challenge launched by Honorable Minister from about a couple of months back. This was after the Prime Minister's speech at Red Fort, where he talked about youth to participate in the BioE3 policy implementation. We came out with this program actually, and now today this program has been launched on 1st of November. And in fact, sir, this is to tell you now, as of now, there are 510 applications have been submitted already on this portal actually, which is just only the 10 days of this portal opening actually right now. And out of that, large number of them has been from 431 has been from the iBRIC institutions. And what we have done is we have in an interim way, we have analyzed these 431 today, because we thought we can give 10 of these awards to all of these people who have done from the BRIC institutions on a foundation day to, motivate them and do more and more better thing activity. Of course, they will participate. All of these applications will continue to participate in an area of, which is about 1 lakh awards that are going to be given out every month for next entire year actually. So I would like to, ask all of you to try and make let more and more people know about this Design for BioE3, so that there is a kind of an excitement around in the country to come up with ideas that are futuristic, not necessarily, solution finding today, but really finding solutions for futuristic goals that are fairly complex to handle actually. And you can see in several areas that are being identified, precision biotherapeutics obviously take the cake actually and NIBMG as well as various other institutions all the institutions have contributed to this kind of with largest number coming from NIBMGs actually. So finally, I just want to say what Anand left with actually. I think there are new paradigms of co-evolution are going to happen in our in the world. Most of the technologies and science and discoveries have been done through adaptive capabilities of human intelligence as of today. Primarily, they've been driven by how human perceives things and utilizes this actually. However, two new models are now actually becoming very, very powerful actually. And this becomes a very important perspective, which is a biological intelligence, which is the DNA coded perspective of microbes, human health, and how one can look at it. And at the same time, the algorithmic artificial intelligence, which is amplifies human understanding. And three of these together, in fact, the triad of intelligence, what I call natural, biological, and artificial, is going to lead to the next generation advances of an amazing kind at an amazing speed. And how do we adapt to it is what is going to be our challenge. And how do we be part of that journey is even more difficult and comprehensive to think about actually. So I personally, try to tell all the youngsters who are online and various other process at the place across the country is that please ensure that you are actually using all these three technologies to the best of your capabilities, because just the speed with which all of these triad of intelligence can converge and provide solutions are quite what I can say is like unprecedented pace and unprecedented quality and unprecedented precision of biology, what you will see in future to come. And many of you are going to be there to survive, to take a look at it actually. So be the part of this journey and use various sources to be able to carry out these activities. I thank you all again for joining, and thank you very much again for everybody.
Thank you, sir, for a talk which was truly inspiring and also given us much food for thought. Thank you so much. So for the next segment, it entails awarding winners of the Design for BioE3 programs from iBric Plus family. It's an immense privilege for the young innovators of the iBric Plus family that the Honorable Minister Shri Jitendra Singh Ji will be giving away these awards to the top 10 innovative, sustainable biotech solutions addressing national challenges under the Design for BioE3 competition. For this, I also invite Dr. Vamsi Krishna Adanki, Scientist at DBT, Program Officer for Design for Bio3 on stage, as well as all the directors from the iBric Plus family during the award ceremony. So I request Honorable Mantri Ji for giving away the awards. For the first award, I would request all the directors to kindly join us on the stage. For the first award, I call up Mr. Pradeep Kumar Das from ILS Bhubaneswar. He had submitted a proposal on Agni, Agricultural Green Biofuel Network Initiative. So if the concerned student is not around, the partner students or the faculty can join us to take the awards, please. For the next one, may I call upon Mr. Mishal Khan from INSTEM Bangalore for the proposal Design and Development of Novel Mycophenolic Acid Derivatives as Next Generation Immunosuppressive Agents. For the next award, I call upon Ms. Shreya Srivastav from NABI. Proposal is entitled Salinity Busters Bioengineered Glutathione Microbes as Crop Protectors. Um, so if the student or the group members are around, they should come to take away the awards, please. Or the yeah, please. For the next award, I call upon Mr. Shubham from NCCS Pune. The proposal is entitled Living Machines Engineering C Elegance Inspired Microbots for Targeted Therapy and Environmental Intelligence. Team NCS, please. Next team is Ms. Binita Roy Nandi and Kartike Avadhani from NIAB, Hyderabad. Proposal is entitled Bone Spear using a pathogen-derived molecule for targeted delivery of antibiotics. Next awardee is Ms. Nishita Thakur, NII New Delhi, for the proposal Biocatalytic Upcycling of Textile Waste into Fibers and Bioproducts. Team NII, please. Next one is Mr. Shankhanath from NIBMG Kalyani for the proposal Restoring Skin Health, a safe by default fast probiotic therapy for atopic dermatitis. Next award is for Ms. Aishwarya Krishnan Iyer from RGCB Thiruvananthapuram on the proposal Multilayer Suspended Biotrickling Filter for treatment of industrial flue gas. Next awardee is Mr. Athar Vinay Athawale and Ramesh Chandra Rai from Thisti Faridabad on the proposal Antiviral Nasal Decoy Platform for Outbreak-Ready Respiratory Protection. Last but not the least, Mr. Satya Seelan and Manisha Yadav from RCB Faridabad on the proposal Early Flowering and High Quality Rice through RPL 10B4 regulation, a biological design to reduce pollution and improve grain traits. Thank you, sir, for giving away these awards and encouraging the young students towards this initiative. Before we begin with the next segment, I request Secretary DBT and DG BRIC, Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, to felicitate Honorable Minister Shri Jitendra Singh Ji with a shawl and a memento. I now humbly request Honorable Minister Shri Jitendra Singh Ji to kindly address the gathering.
Vice Chancellor Professor Shanti Shri Pandit. He organizes a very conservative in describing her as the first woman vice chancellor. But the other half of the truth is that she is the first woman who has tamed many a man and has given a very optimistic direction to the entire education system at the university that she has been heading for the last recent times. Our very dynamic and very committed secretary, Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, I think, who had for the first time asked you to clap for him. That's because even before he became a director and otherwise, he's been a very committed and a passionate worker with whatever task he takes up for himself. So maybe he had begun to realize that he was not getting the kind of applause that he deserved. But of course, I think his work speaks for him and the entire team and the transformation that the department has seen in the last 3 years or so since he's been over there. Dr. Murali, the president of ABLE, Dr. Gokhale was thanking him for having traveled all the way from Coimbatore, but I must confess that he and his association is an essential part of all our initiatives, and I firmly believe that if we have to move forward, we have to move on with the biotechnology-led entrepreneurs and enterprises. Otherwise, all these initiatives that Dr. Rajesh was talking about would not meet the envisaged goals. And of course, Dr. Deshpande, at the outset, I have to perform the pleasant and the formal task of congratulating you all on the second foundation day. And I think what is also not realized is that from the point of view of the government headed by Prime Minister Modi, there was a thought about a few years back, say about 3-4 years back, that instead of having multiple institutions which had considerable amount of overlap and also confusion about their working, could we integrate some of them for a more wholesome working, both in terms of research, innovation, also in terms of administration. And I'm glad, I think Department of Biotechnology is the first in Government of India which took this initiative and integrated, how many, 14 I think? 14 institutes under one single umbrella called BRIC. And that became also an example and an urgency for the other ministries, other departments to follow. So I think for that too, from the point of view of an administrative initiative, also you deserve to be congratulated. In fact, I also had the opportunity to say this, but I think in the Parliament, the Cabinet, that the Department of Biotechnology has already undertaken this exercise. And now it's become a trend because the age of silos is over. We have also learned the merits of integrating as extensively, as closely as possible for better outcomes mutually for each one of us. So this is, as I said, living up to the spirit of synergized working. And now we are also in the process of integrating with other institutions. We have gone beyond the institutions under the umbrella of BRIC. There is considerable amount of collaboration happening with the other science institutions, also the extra science institutions. We are also collaborating with the IIT, the medical institutions, whether it's the AIMS, the Tata. So I think biotechnology has gone much beyond the four walls of the small corridor premises that Rajesh has in the CTO complex, which of course is less than what he deserves. And we are looking for another suitable venue as well. But their presence is now being felt everywhere. And that also has now picked up with the buzz all over the world that the fourth industrial revolution would be primarily biotechnology driven. And I'm glad India has already initiated herself into this process by way of the declaration of Bio E3 policy. And I must thank Prime Minister Modi for having encouraged us to do so and for having himself taken up the initiative to get through that policy in the cabinet. and to get it, the acceptability of the government. I don't know how many of you are aware of the fact that Dr. Rajesh had to do series of presentations in order to convince and make them understand. And then in the final one or two, I was also there with him, and we could convey that today it may not sound very much visible or real, but tomorrow at least, the world will not have the opportunity to say that we are late beginners. We would have already initiated ourselves into something which is already happened. That's quite contrary or quite in contrast to what happened in the IT domain. When television happened in US in 1950s and we got it in 1970. So if the next phase of innovation and the technology-driven economic growth of the world as such, and including that of India, is going to be biotechnology, then we are already into it. Others may be following us, may be equal to us, but we would not be having the dubious distinction of being behind them. And that's also evident from the fact that some of the facilities that was being pointed out also in the video that you saw. Otherwise, we are now among the 2 in India for that animal facility that we just now launched after Pune, and among just about 10 in the world. So you can understand, we are now living up to that that envisaged goal which Prime Minister often keeps reiterating, to reach that level of Viksit Bharat 2047. And this is also quietly related with the entire ecosystem that has been created. The BRIC is the other example. So we have BRIC also, and we have BRIC also. So BRIC along with BRIC is what enables ABLE, because BRIC serves as a cementation of the BRIC to enable it to reach ABLE. And it has proved to be a beautiful success story and one of the most successful experiments in public-private participation. So this government has been very forthcoming in encouraging private participation as far as possible, and I'm glad that we have put up a structure in place where, or an interface which acts as an institutionalized mechanism to decide, to determine the nature of collaboration, the entities who would be collaborating, the theme of collaboration, the scale of collaboration. And it has picked up so well that more than BRIC, BRIC is being talked about in the youth. So I've been going to the university that I travel extensively, almost every 3 states every week, and like to be among the youngsters, maybe youngsters than these youngsters at the class 12 level or the early graduates, because they are the ones actually who teach you a lot. And the other day, I think Rajesh was also there, where we were in a government high school of girls in one of the aspirational districts of Dhawalpur. We found class 8 girls talking about all this and talking about other schemes also in the ministry, and also having the skill and having worked out how to create an ecosystem to get the benefit of BRIC, and also then to connect it with the what is that, DST, Vigyan Jyoti, and all those things, Aspire and Vigyan Jyoti. So they have also picked up that skill of combining the best of all the 4, going beyond the bound. So I think that's how we pick up. What I'm trying to say is that, and this has also been possible because of the number of success stories that have emanated from BRIC, the vaccine story. Unfortunately, BRIC did not get the kind of credit, nor did the DBT that they deserved, because they didn't beat the drum very early and the credit went elsewhere. But these are the people, and then afterwards, I think we have tried to make up for this by talking repeatedly in the parliament that they are the script writers. Those who are beating the drum are actually the hero and the heroine. So they are more visible. But without them, they could not have been able to dance and sing around the trees. So they made them do so. So the vaccine is one story, because that's given us global recognition and also changed the image of India from being a poor health provider to being a leader of preventive health care, a country which was not even taken seriously for therapeutic health. Similarly, our nephromycin also arriving from BRIC. So both these experiments have been possible through a PPP model which was facilitated by BioAct. And as I said, the ecosystem would now also involve the ANRF, which also happened around the same time when the BRIC happened, and very recently as the Prime Minister launched the rupees 1 lakh crore RDI fund. That has generated too much of enthusiasm also because there's a money component associated with it. So the knowledge may take some time to pour in, but money pours in faster. So wherever I go, they ask me how to get something out of this. And also NRF. So sometimes I have to tell them that, okay, this is not an employment exchange that we've opened up. There's a certain amount of criteria laid down because every nook and corner you find people asking, how do we get something from ANRF? But I think as the change of mindsets happen and as we learn what it is all about, these are going to be great game changers. And of course, this is more of the science students who cross that age, but whenever I go to a college or a class 12, I also tell them that this ecosystem also includes the NEP policy. And that has been a great game changer because when you are, and that is closely associated with biotechnology. For example, and in fact, I was telling in one of the colleges that most of these boys and girls who take up these mathematics subjects in class 12 do so to find some opening through IIT JEE to get into an IIT or NIT or whatever. But once they don't, at least they are not the prisoners of the same subjects which they chose for some other reason, regardless of talking lofty ideals that they want to serve the society and want to do such as this, blah, 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 etc. The limited purpose was to join an IIT and find a passport to a foreign country, which didn't happen. So if it didn't happen, they could come over to biotechnology. Because now biotechnology is picked up. We did a survey about 5 years back in the capital city of Delhi. We found it to be 4th or 5th preference, even class 12 pass outs. So which means it's also becoming an important, promising source of livelihood in the days to come in the next generation. And this is being facilitated by this NEP 2020, which also enables you to change over your subjects. And the consequences, as Dr. Rajesh mentioned, from bioeconomy, I'm glad that day the Prime Minister also quoted this, though that was not a biotechnology meet, it was a STIC meet, but he made it a point to mention the bioeconomy rising from just 10 billion to what it is today. Soon will be 200 and 300. Biotech started with just about 50, 60 when we began. Today is around 11,000 or more. And biomanufacturing, we are ranked 12 in the world and 3 Indo-Pacific. I did some jugglery in that STIC open remarks. I didn't mention the world ranking. I mentioned the Indo-Pacific because that sounded more attractive, number 3. But I think equally significant is the fact that the devices, the instruments being created by our biomanufacturers are now being also finding demand in the other countries, partly because they are equitable in quality and much more because they are much cost effective. So we are now getting a huge market. So in other words, biotechnology will not only be serving the purpose of innovation research, it's also going to be a huge contributor to India's economy. And as was being mentioned, we've already found, our hemophilia found a place in New England Journal of Medicine, which is also quite remarkable. It's not, I mean, I've seen innovators, researchers, even faculty members aspiring for a lifetime to find one publication in New England Journal of Medicine. We've already done it in a very early stage of the hemophilia. And that also has given tremendous amount of public awareness. Only this morning I came across a news report. Because there's an association of blood transfusion association in this country. There's also transfusion, an association dedicated to hemophilia caused by the patients and by the family members. So they were actually bemoaning the lack of availability of factor 8 and 9. So there we would have a role to come in and step in and to generate it through our own means. So that means that we are also now in the community service. So we have started simultaneously serving more than one cause. In the Nature Index, India ranking also, BRIC has secured one of the top positions. And of course, in the nature communication, the malaria parasite work found a mention. And the last 1 year itself, there have been a series of inaugurations which are world class, like for example, in THSTID. First, that ferret research facility, which I and Rajesh were together. Nabi, that day, because we are not only confined to life sciences, also to the plant biotechnology, the speeds facility, and etc. So to make up, because these are some of the global. Now that, in other words, we are also now addressing the global concerns, whether it's the food security or whether it's the preventive health, and so on and so forth, and of course the animal biosafety level in this institute. So, as I said, BRIC institutes have a unique privilege and a unique character of simultaneously being teaching institutes, also being translational research institutes, also providing diagnostic and therapeutic solutions, and overall, as I said, also contributing to India's economic growth through a very vibrant private sector engagement. And therefore, without taking long, I will once again congratulate you. I think the best of the DBT is yet to come, and so also the best of India. And may I dare so, and may I dare say so, with all the confidence that I have on behalf of all of us, that the road to Viksit Bharat will pass through the corridors of DBT. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your guiding words and being a pillar of strength for all departmental activities. Sir, you have been behind the major force behind establishment of BRIC and helping us create the buzz amongst the masses for the immense potential of biotechnology in transforming lives and realize the vision of Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much. So moving on, we next have talks by our guests of honor.
distinguished academic and the current Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. A true pioneer, she's the first woman and the first alumni to hold this top post at JNU. With an impressive background that includes a PhD in international politics from JNU and a postdoctorate from Uppsala University, Sweden, Professor Pandit is a former professor of politics and public administration at Savitribai Phule University. She is a highly respected voice in policy and academia, known for her expertise in international relations, peace and conflict studies, and the role of women in politics. Her work extends beyond the classroom, contributing to key national bodies like the UGC and ICSSR, and her insights are crucial for understanding contemporary academic leadership and social science research. Throughout her career, she has guided 30 PhD students and published 4 authored books, 2 edited books, and numerous research papers. She is also a noted polyglot, proficient in languages including Telugu, Tamil, Marathi, Hindi, Sanskrit, and English. Please join me in welcoming Professor Pandit, VCJNU, and guest of honor for today's celebration for her talk.
Respected Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Dr. P.M. Murali, and Dr. Anand Deshpande, and scientists, ladies and gentlemen, research scholars. I was thinking why I think I'm the odd man out, because maybe it's a good neighborly policy. You have to, because you can't get away with some neighbors. And also maybe the reason, the primacy of the political. How much ever you scientists do, unless there is political will to implement it, there is none. So maybe I've been called to sensitize all of us of the importance of innovation, research, and as Rajesh Gokhale rightly said, from discovery to delivery. And hence, and number 2, I think you think of knowledge as power or power as knowledge. It is Nari Shakti. Goddess Saraswati is the goddess of knowledge. So all the men have to pray to her, and they want to monetize it. Mahalakshmi is also a woman. And then finally you want to become Durga, again a woman. So Stri, Nari Shakti, and we are a feminist civilization. You will ask how? Matru Devo Bhava, then only Pitru. And also all gods, male gods, are named after their wives. It's not the other way around. Umapati, Sitapati, Lakshmipati, Radhakrishna, no Patni. So maybe they thought there should be a lady also to represent the Indian knowledge systems, which is also very important. And finally, maybe as a neighbor, JNU that builds narratives. And you are our tenant as well. So I think the owner, so JNU has made a transformation, as most of you know, from chaos and conflict to cooperation and collaboration. Collaboration, I think I'm the first non-science VC to understand science. I had all science VCs before, but we never even got across to IIT Delhi. I've signed an MOU with IIT Delhi for common academic programs, common research, as well as a research innovation park. Meaning JNU has the land, IIT has the money. So we are going to have where we'll share it for students. Already we have started because they need our animal house and we need their supercomputer. So we are collaborating, and I thank Mantri ji because this is the first time. Most of you think JNU is a social science. No, we make the largest noise, but out of our 14 schools, 11 schools are science. So please understand that though they are very quiet, this is the first time JNU has got for basic research. I wanted to congratulate the Mantri ji and the Prime Minister for the PMRF, Prime Minister Research Fund. And let me proudly say, the least expected university to get in with IITs, IISc, and NIT was Jawaharlal. That's the turnaround. We have 6 spoke institutions, which are lower level universities, where we will do what to say, handhold, because I am thank Rajesh Gokhaleji, his ministry, and the change in vision that basic research is done in universities. As the Mantriji rightly said, catch them young. So I think it's important that we are here. I don't want to stand between PM Murli and you because they are much more experts, but I was totally on AI or artificial intelligence, which Anand Deshpande spoke about. But there are certain things, are teachers of today going to be relevant? I say yes. Why? Because AI can only imitate physical knowledge, mental knowledge, and intellectual knowledge. It cannot do for emotional and spiritual knowledge. And that is what IKS brings, meaning Indian knowledge systems. And I think it is extremely important that while revolutionizing education, we need to change and adapt. It's not that jobs will be lost, new jobs will be created. That is what we will have to. And also long-term sustainable revenue. And I hope with the work being done by your ministry and others, we missed the first revolution. I hope we will be able to make up in the second AI revolution from a user to a creator. And also move from tokenism towards transformation. Finally, a warning to all of you. While intelligence has become artificial, stupidity is still original. So I would rather, as a social scientist, like to warn you on this. And also, I would just like to bring in some aspect of international relations, because today everything is global. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And here I want to bring before you the transformation done by the present government, what I call the Modi doctrine of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And this is where I think all of us come together as academia, because academia is very important in knowledge creation and transferring to industry. And I'm happy we have started working together. Otherwise, we were in silos. Atmanirbhar, we always had Nirmal Anand research. All in silos. One professor will start a lab. And when he retires, the lab gets closed. Nobody else knows what to do. I had one such situation in JNU, and somebody wanted a patent. And that person's patent. And we had to search where the professor was. So I hope we don't do it. And that is where, so I also want to talk about Modi's doctrine of a full spectrum strategy, especially after Operation Sindoor, because Atmanirbhar, you'll ask why, madam? See, JNU gives PhDs to DRDO Institute. So the scientists are ours. So if at all you're Atmanirbhar in defense technology, it's thanks to JNU. And also all the Army, Air Force, naval chiefs are JNU, so most nationalistic university. So here I would like to bring in one that integrates military strength, economic pressure, diplomatic precision, and psychological reset of Bharat's civilizational outlook towards all and abroad as well. And I think this is what even in biotechnology, sir, whenever I think of biotechnology, as an international relations teacher, I think of biological weapons. I know you would say it's not for that matter. We are not destructive, we are constructive. But there's a very thin line between the two. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi assumed office in 2014, he inherited not just a sluggish economy and fractured national psyche, but also a legacy of foreign policy built on timidity and strategic ambiguity. India's earlier dealings with her neighbors were marred with excessive restraint, internationalization of internal matters, and repetitive cycles of dialogue and betrayal. But with Prime Minister Modi, the era ended, If the Congress era was marked with Aman Ki Asha, Modi's governance introduced Brahmos Ki Bhasha, a doctrine of unapologetic retaliation and surgical precision to any and every provocation or vindicate or violation of peace. The Modi doctrine encompasses what to say, economic pressure, diplomatic precision, and most importantly, a psychological reset in Bharat's civilizational outlook towards its most committed neighborhood. That is why I think you have started the good neighbor policies. This is also not a new security doctrine. It is a recalibration of India's national. Why am I telling you scientists? It is your discoveries that have to be delivered. And when they are delivered, it is extremely important that you understand the whole contribution that you're making towards society. And let me at the outset congratulate you on your foundation of BRIC and BRIC. I also learned a lot, and I hope JNU also benefits from this, because I think we have got a lot of faculty from NII and vice versa. That is still good, but I think we also should join together for maybe joint research projects, joint academic and other things, and also use of our research facilities, because I'm your neighbor and just across the wall, my house. So I share the monkeys you share. So that's true. That's something I would request all of you. And finally, I would like to end and not stand behind the experts, because I do not think I'm I won't talk on biotechnology, because the least I knew about biotechnology was I was at Pune University, and I knew Professor Ashok Polaskar and others who were my vice chancellor when I was the management council member. So that's the nearest I got, and my 12th standard science was the nearest, and nothing beyond that. So I would only like to end saying that please see that all your research will move us to an awakening, which is very, very required, especially for Vikasit Bharat, and as well as a leadership. I am happy that you are taking a holistic approach and don't work in your silos. You're as much nation builders as much as political leaders. So I think we mold young minds, we mold the nation. I think as teachers, researchers, and academia, be proud of yourself. Even if AI comes, we'll still be very relevant, because emotional and spiritual intelligence cannot be replicated by AI. So hence, I would only say that finally, thank you so much for inviting me this afternoon. I thank Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, who convinced me when I was very reluctant to come, saying that I should learn more from you rather than talk here. Thank you so much once again. And I greatly admire Mantriji and wish we had one more thing. And I thank you all for it. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am, for rather a very energizing talk and giving us a lot to think about. Thank you so much. So, moving on, it's my privilege to introduce the next guest of honor, Dr. P.M. Murali. He is a highly influential figure in the biotechnology sector, known for his significant contributions to industry leadership and policy advocacy. He currently serves as the President Council of Presidents for the Association of Biotechnology-led Enterprises. In addition to this vital industry role, Dr. Murali is the founder and chairman of Jananome Private Limited and Alive Biotherapeutics. His expertise is centered on the industrial biotech segment, where he champions sustainable solutions utilizing enzymes and microbes. He is a staunch advocate for strengthening the biotechnology ecosystem, engaging in policy advocacy, and working to foster a strong partnership between industry, government, and academia. His influence extends globally as he has spoken at the United Nations ECOSOC event on the role of biotechnology, including technologies like synthetic biology and precision fermentation. So without delay, I would invite Dr. P.M. Murthy for his talk.
Very good afternoon, all of you, till the slides are being set here. So, very tough act to follow Panditji's speech and the way she put things there. I think there's going to be a lot of synergy to what I'm going to be talking, except that I'm going to disappoint her. I'm not going to speak anything on biotechnology today. That's the other part. Respected Secretary, dignitaries off and on the dais, it's really my pleasure to be here with all of you celebrating the second year. I have watched the social media posts that have been coming out. Looks like past few days, you've all been playing chess, cricket, badminton, and a number of other things that has energized you. And I think one of the lessons that I learned from sport, because I still play a sport today, is that you learn how to win and you learn how to lose and you learn how to respect winners and you know how to treat losers. So these are all some of the things that we learned during this. So I'm guessing these games have really helped you to shape those moral character that is part and parcel of the science here. So happy second year, and I'll move to the presentation here. I have about 10 slides, and today my talk is slightly different from the way I used to be doing in other places. It could be quite a bit of serious thought for some of the directors here and the way we are going to shape up things. So if you don't lose me for the next 20 minutes to your phone or to any other conversation, you will understand where I am trying to guide this thought process. And hopefully if I succeed, it will be very good. So I am a very firm believer that technology is completely intertwined with humanity. And we have a very complex relationship there. You have to remember, technology profoundly impacts human behavior. And that's what you can see, which is happening in the current geopolitical world also. Health, society, which happened during COVID time, how people behaved, how governments behaved, how companies behaved. And you have to remember that this technology is slowly pushing us towards the feeling of immortality. All that we are learning, all that we can do at the press of the finger. So we believe that this is some sort of an immortality type of situation that has actually set in. However, I basically believe in the era of artificial intelligence, it's ultimately the human spirit that is going to prevail and nothing more than that. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize during this small talk here, that it is the human enterprise, the humanness in anything that you do is going to be the most important part here. Before I get into this slide, I will give you a small information. So last week, about 90 leaders from industry, from the venture capital community, academia, and the government, they came together in the United States. Now, this is something that I emphasize, and I've been telling the secretary that more and more of this entire community sitting together is something very important. So what did they actually do? It was actually promoted by, let's call it a forum or an organization called Engine. And it is called a Tough Tech Week. So imagine technology is supposed to facilitate, but this entire concept is called Tough Tech Week. So in this Tough Tech Week, under the banner of Engine, all these people sat together to understand what's next. How do we do something sustainable? And what came out was, in this ideation was, how do we accelerate the bioeconomical growth of the country? How do we accelerate the bioeconomical growth of the country? Not only that, it should revolutionize how we produce food, materials, medicines, energy, and all that. Now, please remember, this is exactly what, under the leadership of Rajesh Gokhale, we have had the Bio E3 coming out from the Prime Minister's office and from the Minister's office. We thought through this a year and a half ago, and we believed that the bioeconomy is the one that's going to be making a paradigm shift in the way we are going to be living and the way we are going to be sustainably living, and also the way India is going to move towards the next stage. They have put a number, which there's no basis, but I just copied that number which they gave me, at 31 trillion is what they are aiming at. There's no year mentioned, there's no date mentioned, there's no nothing mentioned. And here in India, we do have a very, very good course that we are doing. So ladies and gentlemen, in this room, instead of the minister saying this, instead of the secretary saying this, a rank outsider like me coming in from somewhere south saying that the Bio E3 policy is going to make a paradigm shift and all of you are going to be part of this, is going to make life so, so different from now on. Now I come to this slide here. So people who are following regularly models on how countries have grown, how have they shaped up their economy, how is science being done to look at that, you will realize historically United States has always taken a market-driven approach. Then we are always compared to China. And what did they do? They have been doing two things. One is a combination of absorbing foreign technology, and also the government has been giving a lot of initiative. And that is what the secretary also was alluding to when he was talking. So between these two models, India is somewhere there. We don't know, at least I don't know, but there is something that we need to do if we want to benchmark ourselves and be totally global in our efforts. We have to remember, as scientists sitting in this room, we just cannot ignore the geopolitical phenomenon that's happening outside us. And our future is going to be on the geo-economic competition. So it is going to be more and more of the competition that comes from this arena. And in this context, we have to sustain the 1.4 billion or whatever we may be in 2047. We are going to be battling a warmer planet. We are going to have an extreme weather conditions here. People who have been regularly flying like me, we know what exactly that means, is that you always have terrifying turbulences which you don't know why it happens, and you don't seem to have experienced so many in the early days when the aircrafts were of a lesser technical advancement. So you do know that, notice that an entire year's rainfall just goes down on a single day. And then there are days when you really need to have rainfall that doesn't happen. Water and air pollution, I don't have to tell you anything about it in Delhi. Food security threat. And we are going to face something very new, which we have not faced, which is people living longer. And when people live longer, you have to remember they would be seeing more and more of the Shah Rukh Khan movies. I think he's 60 now. So when he also becomes aged and he is still romancing at 80 and 90 years, there will still be people who will be watching him. And you have to remember, as you grow old, the major challenge that is going to be is mental health. Because we always keep saying, when somebody like me with the gray hair talking, he's senile. So that senility also will set in a normal aging process, which will have to be reversed. So the human existence per se is going to have a sea paradigm change in which how they are living and how they are going to make food and how they are going to be looking after themselves. So let us now look at about 4 or 5 of them, because I don't want to give you so many of them, and it's about 1:15. So in 10 minutes, I would like to see if I can wind up so that you have lunch on time. Is how do we prioritize our problems. And in India, we keep saying this, no, all the time, problem, problem, problem. You know, we get really vexed with it. Open the paper, look at the television. Looks like nothing is happening that is going to motivate us except the speech given by the Vice Chancellor here. So I just want to be sure that we don't just keep talking about problems, but let's see if there are solutions to the ways in which we can do, so that, you know, we move one step forward. And I have to also remind all the people here, while it looks like, you know, we have been talking about rishis and munis and Mahabharata and Ramayana and all that, please remember, unfortunately, our economy, the current economy in the current set of things, is only about 34 or 35 years old. We might have been controlling the global GDP, but in the newer context, we are a very, very young nation in terms of what it is. And we have to remember, like the Vice Chancellor was saying, we missed the bus and all that. We have missed several buses. In fact, we have been standing in the bus stop for a long time, very, very long time, and seeing lots and lots of buses going, AC buses, deluxe buses, young buses, old buses. And we have missed a lot of it. But you have to remember that this is all now still offshore, meaning that some of them will have to come to you. So we need to prepare ourselves, especially institutions like BRIC. How do we get that damn technology in here? And how do we also get the people here, which is what I will be talking about? And how do we grow and accelerate our growth, which is the most important part. So if you remember, I gave you the context of what happened last week in the US. That's the same context I'm going to be talking about, is how do we accelerate, which means it is not business as usual. So as soon as you guys get out from this hall, please remember, it is not business as usual. There is a tearing hurry. There is an absolutely important thing that you need to do. And if you do it right, 2047 will be right. Otherwise, there's no way we are going to be there. Okay? So here are some of the acceleration suggestions that I am planning to offer here. And I'm just going to do 5 of them. I mean, 5 parts and nothing more. One of the challenges that we have, especially the industry, I'm not talking about any academic institution here, is what we call the word called grad inflation. This is a very new word that I learned some time back. Grad inflation. And what does that mean? It means that there are lots and lots of educated people who are coming. But unfortunately, they are not skilled enough still to carry out functions that what probably will give them their livelihood. That leads to frustration from both sides, the employer and the employee. So one of the things that we need to do is, how do we quickly get to have this married? And one of the most important thing is, if you really want to get this married, and if you really want to get those offshore technologies, then the best way to do is like the airlines do. Airlines do something called as a wet lease. So what is a wet lease? They don't have air hostess. They may not have pilots. They may not have the crew. So the best thing they do is they take a wet lease. Along with the plane comes all the other people. And some of you would have experienced this in India, when originally we used to wet lease planes, where not a single word of Hindi, Nepali, English, Marathi, Urdu was spoken by the people, but some other language that we were not familiar with. But they were part of the wet lease who used to come and run our planes inside. Now that is history. But you have to remember, if we need that sort of a diaspora to come in, then what do we need actually is that how do we get that manpower to train our manpower, and how do we bring them back here? This is where I think BRIC ecosystem will play a very, very big role, in the sense that where are these people going to come? They need a house, they need a place, they need an ecosystem. What best ecosystem can you have for biotechnology than the 14 institutions that have come together? This is, in my view, going to be the change maker type of activity that BRIC is going to be involved. And I would only like to leave it as a thought process here, because we still have to solve 2 problems. Why did these chaps leave, and why should they come back? And if they come back, What is their motive to be back here besides being kicked out? So we need to be very sure that when we bring them back, they are brought back as a happy family, and we are able to take them back and get our people trained so that very, very quickly the technology adoption happens, so that this grad inflation does not come in our way. This needs a national policy. I think somebody like the secretary has to decide how can we bring them back. There are several programs like Ramalinga Swami and all that, but we need something more than that to bring some of these guys back lock, stock and barrel, and where they can come and work. And I think the nesting place for them will be definitely the BRIC. The second part, this is something that we have heard, I think, a zillion times. I think this has been a nightmare for everybody who sits in government. How do we fund? Biotech is a guzzler. 98% fails, 2% succeed. And we are in a terrible shape here. One of the flaws, and I would say this with a lot of open mind, is the public-private collaborations are still not happening at a very, very large scale. I basically believe, I saw all the matrices that were presented by the secretary, and I was looking very carefully. Did I miss it? Did I see a line where he said, we have 60 public-private collaborations, 70 public-private collaborations? I didn't see that there, but if there is somebody here who can correct me, I'll be very happy. If I were part of the BRIC, I would strive, bend backwards to ensure that there is enough and more public-private participation and collaboration. This is what the minister also alluded to when he was talking about ABLE, is that we need to have a marriage of convenience that can do. Now, what will that do actually? It will actually bring in a lot of funds, because if there is going to be meaningful association, meaningful research that goes on, there will be more and more of these funds coming in. I also want to leave one thought process, particularly to the secretary to explore, is that there are, besides the public-private initiatives where there's going to be a 1 lakh crore fund and so on, we should also explore biotech bonds, in my view. These are debt servicing equipment, and it is very, very good and unique in a way, because there is a pressure everywhere to pay it back. So the accountability on disbursement, managing it, all that can happen. And nothing like soaking it from the public, because you need to answer to them. So I was thinking, why not look at a biotech bond? And if that is something that can be made with the experts sitting here, it could be something that we can do. The last point in that is that any business model that we do, it's become so old, so cliched, so IRR focused, so NPV focused. I am seeing quite a lot of these proposals coming to me, and I would say almost 90% of them, if there is going to be competition or if somebody goes for their jugular vein, that business will not even thrive. So what we also need to remember is take in people from other disciplines to tell us how new business models can be built for biotechnology. And please don't rely on these archaic people, old fools like me, for giving you a business model, because we just don't know how to bring and build new business models. So that is also one thing that you need to be remembering. The third one is very simple. I was part of this exercise. The Secretary of Pharma was chairing this. We have also suggested that regulation has to be transformational. There's no point in taking incremental steps. Everything has to be fast. A lot of the first in human trials has to happen in India. And if it has to happen, obviously our regulatory system has to support it. So we have said that why not ICMR also come in to help and lend expertise, because CDSCO itself does not have enough of those expertise. So we have suggested also that to them. Looks like this is now moving in a great speed. And soon I think the regulatory bottlenecks that India has been facing will also be overcome with some creative thinking of how we can share our existing resources to take it to the next stage. I have two more points to make before I close. One is that the Vice Chancellor was also mentioning about biosecurity. I am passionate about it, and I think the youngsters will have to be passionate about it. Please remember, that future wars are not going to be fought the way we are going to be thinking about seeing in the movies. It's all going to be very great machines, artificially led, drones, blah, blah, blah. And don't discount that we also need to be prepared mentally for anything that breaks out that causes irreparable damages to us. So in that respect, sequencing, which what the secretary is doing every single day, is most important for us to understand. For example, I'll give you a very, very simple example. If you have a Helicobacter pylori infection, which is nothing but a small bacteria that causes stomach ulcers, today, the only option for you is you can check, probably do a biopsy, and then try to culture it to find out what antibiotic resistance is there. But if you can actually sequence it, you will know every damn mutation that is possible in that bug. So which means entire Indian population can actually be looked at, how much of antibiotic resistance is there, so that you don't pump in somebody with 4 antibiotics, find that he is resistant after 15 days, and then make him get to be resistant for a few more bugs, and then give him something that could cure Helicobacter pylori. Now, these are all the medical tectonic shifts that can happen once we start sequencing. And so remember, biosecurity will be all those things. I just have to engineer something to cause ulcer, grievous ulcer. Those are all the things that we have to keep at the back of our mind on how do we go out and ensure that our nation stands protected. The more we are going to be growing, the more we are going to be the 3rd largest, 2nd largest, the more we are going to have issues, and we need to know how to tackle it. This is the last one I wanted to let you know. What a beautiful day it's going to be in 2035 when we will have our own lovely station, BAS. It will be orbiting up there. And there will be an app which will tell you how many times it's coming close to the place where you are living. And you will see that there is going to be this. We will have the people going to Mars, not very long from today. We are also going to have people colonize Moon because it's far easier to go from there. But all this greatness involves research, hardcore research. And remember, you will have to collaborate with the defense and space and all those people there, because you will have to work for solutions for mood, because they are going to be in a small capsule for 6 months. Each one of them is going to kill each other on the way to Mars. You will have to see that their moods are in great shape. They need nutrition. They need general health and well-being. And remember, they have to travel for a very, very long distance without any other interference there. So they are going to be living a very, very isolated life. And so we need to be very careful how we build this. And I understand Department of Biotechnology is already collaborating with space agencies. And I urge BRIC to put in a lot of effort in that so that our future colonies will be done very well. This is my last slide. I have put all this there, but I'm only going to talk about the last part, which is the germplasm, because the secretary has spoken about microbiome, and you all know the roles of epigenetics and Indian system of medicine that the Vice Chancellor also mentioned. Looks like she has said a lot of things in biotechnology, even though she said she has not. The last part is the germplasm bit. I am a very worried, nervous wreck as I am today. I encourage that at all costs we preserve our old germplasm, because as and when we get more hybrids, more CRISPR mediated plants and living beings coming, we have to be sure that our germplasm is in order. So it may be very useful, like the Noah's Ark that we all know, the Matsya Avatar that we famously call on how we could take each one representative there. We need to be sure that the future of India is that all these germ plasms, germ banks need to be preserved and kept for posterity, because we do not know what gene, what information, what immunity, what resistance we need to pick from the bank from the early one. So I feel that the 5 points that I mentioned to you and the germplasm is something that we need to keep in mind. And I believe that BRIC ecosystem has a very, very big role to play in the future in the area of biotechnology. So I believe the Bio E3 led by the secretary and the BRIC institutions that you are all here, you are going to shape up what's going to be for 2047 for this country. So thank you very much for your patient listening, and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring talk and emphasizing sustainability and human spirit in shaping bio-innovations of future. We are now ready to take questions from the audience for our speakers. Questions. Any questions?
Are there any questions?
If not, Hartford.
How this bond actually going to work? Like you said, this biotech bond.
You're able to hear me? The first answer is I don't know, because that's the easiest one. Because you see, to mop up public funding through bonds, especially a debt instrument, is not easy. It has to come because there's a national sovereign guarantee that goes with these bonds. So they have their own way of doing it. I can only say that it's a great instrument. Why not we look at it as a methodology to mop up funds from the public? But how it is going to be done, I would only want more experts to come and comment and do it. If we do it, we may be among the first few countries to do this in the world. I don't know if anybody else even done it.
Thank you, sir.
I think Indian women have the highest amount of gold in the world. Individual holdings of gold is the highest in India. I think we beat America, China, everybody. I don't know if there is a way to ask them, give some gold bonds and monetize that gold. I know women won't give it. Morarji Desai lost power in Maharashtra when he gave that idea. He lost his chief ministership. So, but this is one idea, because do you know that we are the highest holders of gold individually? So we are the most democratic, liberal country in the world. So women of India, you're richer than America and China put together.
So we can have.
Hello, sir. I am Chayan. I am from CDFD. I am a PhD student there. My question is for the BRIC, this kind of program that is happening. So if I have an idea, so how to make it fruitful, or what is the way? Regarding that, for the students, it is little confusing, or like we are sometimes get out of the path. So is DBT or BRIC planning for something like that?
See, this is something that we will, I think the entrepreneurship programs also will be talking about. See, one of the most important thing is it's an oxymoron here. You're not supposed to fall in love with your idea, but at the same time, you have to be passionate about pursuing your idea. I have no idea how that's done. Do you see the point? It's a bit of an oxymoron here.
Yeah.
So we will have to know exactly when to let go, when you know that the technology that you are chasing is not going to be very useful. So it's like cricketers giving up cricket when they know that they are not going to go to the next level. So that realization has to come into every single person when he pursues, so that he does not burn up a lot of money. I mean, the Vice Chancellor's point which he made about one person running a lab and dying with it, I have seen countless examples. 25 years somebody has worked in one small portion of E. coli. And after that, there was a lady who came and sequenced that entire region in about 2 months' time. So 25 years of various awards, rewards, etc. was just done within a matter of few days. So we have to remember that.
Thank you, everyone. Heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers for their engaging talks. May I now request Dr. Rajesh Esko, Clay Secretary, DBT, and DG BRIC to felicitate our guest of honor, Professor Santishri Pandit, Vice Chancellor, JNU. I request sir to kindly felicitate Dr. P.M. Murli, Council of President ABLE and founder and chairman, Jananome Private Limited. I request sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Anand Deshpande, founding chairman and MD, Persistent Systems and co-chair GB BRIC. I request Dr. Devashish Mohanty, Director, NI New Delhi, to kindly felicitate Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, Secretary DBT and DG BRIC. I kindly invite Dr. Sumita to propose the vote of thanks.
It's both an honor and a privilege to stand before you to express deepest gratitude on behalf of Department of Biotechnology as we conclude celebrating second Foundation Day of BRIC. At the outset, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Honorable Minister Shri Jitendra Singh Ji, who has been a guiding force for the department, and his unstinted support has always motivated and empowered the department to believe in the future we are collectively building. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to Secretary DBT and DG BRIC, Dr. Rajesh S. Gokhale, for his invaluable mentorship and steadfast support. Sir, your leadership provides a powerful personal example that inspires all of us, instilling the confidence required to work cohesively as a team and meet every goal we set. Heartfelt thanks are due to Dr. Anand S. Deshpande, Founder Chairman, MD, Persistent Systems, and Co-Chair, Governing Body BRIC, for his invaluable guidance and staunch support for all the BRIC activities. Our gratitude extends to all the directors of the institutes of BRIC, ICGB, and RCB for your continuous support and active engagement in all BRIC activities. Your presence here reflects the shared commitment towards navigating new frontiers for BRIC's march towards excellence in biological research. We are grateful for your ongoing support and involvement. I wish to place on record my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Kalevani Ganeshan, Scientist F and Nodal Officer BRIC, for steering the various BRIC activities from front in a seamless manner and maximizing the outcomes of the program through her untiring support and unflinching support for the stakeholders. I express our sincere thanks to our distinguished speakers, Professor Santi Sri Dhulipuri, VC JNU New Delhi, and Dr. P.M. Murali, President Councils of Presidents ABLE, and Founder and Chairman Jananome Private Limited, who have taken the time to join us today. Besides contributing significantly to the success of the event, your expertise and invaluable insights have been truly inspiring. I express my heartfelt thanks to Ms. Yatinder Prasad, ASNFA DBT, and Chairman Finance Committee BRIC for her persistent support throughout. I express sincere gratitude to MD BRIC and his entire team for facilitating a bridge between academia and entrepreneurial ecosystem, and also extending all the help in strategic initiatives of BRIC. I would like to acknowledge the tireless efforts of the organizing committee and all the individuals behind the scene, and express sincere gratitude to Dr. Debashish Mohanty and Dr. Vashish and his team for his generous efforts in hosting the event and all the logistic support. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the senior officials of the department, the whole DBT and BRIC Plus family, including students, for their support and rising to occasion whenever needed. As we conclude this significant occasion, I hope that the discussions, ideas, and initiatives presented today will inspire continued collaboration and action. Let us move forward together in the spirit of scientific innovation and working together to realize the futuristic vision envisaged for BRIC. I once again thank all the members of the audience, especially students from BRIC Plus, for their presence. Wishing you all continued success and fulfillment in your endeavors. Have a wonderful day. May I also request the dignitaries on dais for a group photograph. For the photograph, I would call upon all the directors of BRIC Plus family, Dr. Kalavani Ganeshan, Scientist F DPT, Ms. Yatinder Prasad, AS and FA DPT, Dr. Richi, Dr. Varshnaya. I request everyone to kindly join for lunch arranged outside in the playground area, please. Thank you, everyone.